Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, these jailbirds are still in the Birmingham jail, and they're being held without bond. So that's what happens to you when you're a badass in a foreign country and you don't know how the law works. So these are the 3 African hair braiders that kidnapped and assaulted a woman over $50. They charged her an additional $50 after they had quoted a price, after they finished doing her hair, and then when it was time to pay, they wanted to add $50, which she would not pay. So they decided they were going to hold her in the shop until she paid, and they assaulted her in the process. Well, this is not Africa. This was in Birmingham, Alabama. The news report says 3 African braiders arrested in Birmingham are currently being held without bond in Jefferson County Jail following charges of first-degree kidnapping and third-degree assault. A viral video showed a customer being locked inside Mama Gifted Hands salon during a dispute over $50. The stylist allegedly pulled her hair and blocked her from leaving until police arrived. Birmingham police charged the 3 women with first-degree kidnapping and third-degree assault. The client said she was quoted one price, then demanded to pay more for hair extensions. When she refused, she was locked in, threatened, and had her hair pulled. Officers arrived while one stylist was attempting to cut the client's hair and ordered her to stop. The women are being held without bond. This means the defendants cannot currently be released while awaiting trial. In serious charges like kidnapping, judges often deny bond due to perceived flight risk or public safety concerns. So yeah, they are a flight risk because if they get out of jail, they're going to fly their asses back to Africa without having to pay for what they did. And also, they say public safety concerns. They also might be looking at an ass beating by the people in Birmingham because there are certain parts of Birmingham where they don't play like that. So, they might be safer in jail than out. So the next step is that they will remain in custody until a bond hearing or trial proceedings determine whether release is possible. So they're being held in the Jefferson County Jail without bond, facing serious felony charges. The case has drawn wide attention because of the viral video and the unusual circumstances of a hair braiding dispute escalating into kidnapping charges. Now, somebody came into my comment section and said that they do stuff like that in Africa. I don't know if it was an African person or a person familiar with how things are done in Africa, but they say that is customary in Africa. So I think this is a very good lesson for them and other Africans who might be tempted to do something like that your ass is going to jail. There are cries for these 3 to be deported. Somebody asked me in my comment section if they would be deported. So I went to the online lawyer and asked if they would be deported, if this was a case of them being deported. And this is what it said. It is not yet clear whether they will be deported after their trial. So they're going to trial first. Deportation depends on their immigration status and the outcome of the criminal case. News reports confirm their arrest and charges, but do not state their residency or visa status. Now, somebody had said they were here illegally. It sounds like they might not be familiar with American law doing something like this, but it's going to be a good lesson for somebody. So if they are undocumented A conviction for a serious felony like first-degree kidnapping could trigger removal proceedings by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE. If they are legal residents, green card holders, certain violent felony convictions can still make them deportable under U.S. immigration law. Yeah, they'll probably be deported even if they're green card holders. If they are on visas, criminal convictions can lead to visa revocation and deportation after serving any sentence. So they're going to have to serve the time first, and then they could be deported. But if they are U.S. citizens, they cannot be deported regardless of conviction, even though they will have to serve that time. So it seems like everything depends on what their status is. Anything short of them being American citizens subject them to being deported from the United States and not being able to return. And that would be a good sentence for them because we don't want them back. The only bright light in this for them is that they will be imprisoned in the United States of America, which is probably better than being imprisoned in Africa, anywhere in Africa. Well, I've just got one question for these jailbirds and all those other Africans that are talking about their culture. They have such great culture and we don't have culture. I just want to know, is this part of your culture? Is this your culture? Coming to a foreign land, not knowing the laws, not knowing how businesses are operated, doing something that is illegal, not even realizing it, I guess, and then not knowing that your asses don't have to go to jail for it. Is this a part of your culture? Not having any manners, not knowing how to behave in a foreign country, not knowing how to treat people who are trying to support your business. Is this part of that great culture we keep hearing about that y'all have? I want to know. So the takeaway from this for Black Americans is that maybe you need to listen when other Black people are talking. Now, I know that the problem with the African hair braiders has been widespread up in the Northeast. And maybe down here in the South, they haven't had that much trouble, but the problem is coming south. They're migrating down here, and Black Americans in the South are going to have to be on the lookout for these people. This whole business about embracing and welcoming these people, you just cannot do that willy-nilly. They have to be vetted. I don't come into contact with many Africans myself, but Birmingham is, it's a metropolitan area, and it's a good place for Black people to do business. But what they need to realize is that Birmingham is majority Black. And as I said before, there are some tough areas in Birmingham that you don't play. And so, but Black American people, and especially Black American women, need to be willing to listen when other people tell you there is a problem. You shouldn't have to hit every bump in the road. You should be able to learn from other people's experiences. Everybody's not lying on these people. Everybody is not lying on these people. I think many of them do good work, but they don't have good business practices. And I don't understand the obsession with these braids anyway, but then that's not my generation. But I think that you really should be willing to listen and not be so quick to dismiss what other Black people say. When they say there's a mad dog down the road, you need to be prepared for the mad dog. Don't go down the road assuming that everybody is exaggerating or lying. Be cautious in dealing with these people because they are not, as Kendrick Lamar says, they're not like us. They're not like us. And you need to move accordingly when you're dealing with them. I'm just going to assume that there are good African businesses that you can deal with, but I wouldn't take it for granted. You know what they say? Trust, but verify. You need to verify for yourself that these people are worth your time and your money. And when you're always looking for something cheap, you know what they say? You get what you pay for. All right, y'all. They're still in jail for now and being held without bond. So they are going to have to go to trial. And my hope is that they will be held accountable for what they did. And let that be a lesson to anybody else who thinks it's a good idea to do that. And finally, I'm still on the culture kick. I want somebody to explain to me how this kind of behavior fits into their wonderful culture or cultures, because I'm not sure these women are from the same culture. So I want to know how this fits into their wonderful culture. How do they log this in as a part of the great ancient culture that they claim they have. Because from where I sit, this is not the behavior of proud, dignified people. This is the behavior of heathens. And over $50. $50 is not even a good allowance for a teenage child in the United States of America. And they're going to end up going to prison over $50. So make it make sense. All right, y'all, let me know what you think about the video and have a good evening.